Christmas in October, does it not? Celebrations continued across the Middle East over the historic peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. And at the White House, Team Trump took a much-deserved victory lap.
We settled 7 wars, or major conflicts, but wars. And this is number 8. I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East.
Let's face it, only Donald Trump, with his relentless pursuit of peace and his team's outside-the-box thinking, could have gotten it done.
Remember, a month ago, no one thought this was possible. You convened a historic meeting, not simply of Arab countries, but of Muslim-majority countries from around the world, including Indonesia was there, Pakistan was there, and created this coalition behind this plan. The president had some extraordinary phone calls and meetings that required a high degree of intensity and commitment, and made this happen.
This was a team effort, and the president, as any great coach would do, spread the credit around.
We did, as a group, with Steve and Jared and Marco and me and all of us. We got the hostages back. We got many of them back. JD, you were fantastic, and Pete, you were great. Susie, I want to thank you very much. CIA, John Radcliffe, and he's done an incredible job. So I want to thank you all, and if I'm missing anybody, I apologize, but you've been amazing.
I want to thank the Academy. Well, since he was sworn into office, Trump never lost sight of the human cost of this conflict, the suffering on both sides, especially of the families of the hostages.
The first thing we're doing is getting our hostages back, okay? And that's what people wanted more than anything else. They wanted these hostages back that have lived in hell like nobody has ever even dreamt possible.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was with some of the families last night.
President Trump, you have the best crowd in the world. What do you guys have to say to President Trump?
Shalom, shalom, family. Hope all is well with you and yours. What an awesome day it is to be again with you. All praises to the Most High, Abba Yah. Listen, if you haven't heard, we are rejoicing. We have the victory. We know who we are in the Most High. So every day is Barak Ad Hashem. Blessings to his name. With that being the case, family, it is obvious to see that the times we are living in is the times that are mentioned in the word of the Most High. So we're going to look at that real quickly. Today we are referencing the book of Revelation, specifically chapter 6. And we know in chapter 6 we see a book that is sealed, and the Father is holding this book that is sealed with 7 seals. No one is found worthy enough to open up the book except for the Lamb. We know the Messiah. He opens up the book of the 7 seals. The first 4 seals, we see the 4 horsemen and them riding in the last times. And John sees the first horse and the rider on it, the white horse, going conquering and to conquer. He has a bow in his hand. The second horse, the red horse, goes to the earth to take away peace from the earth. We see violence on the earth due to the red horse riding, removing peace, shalom, from the earth, that man would unalive one another. The horse is a black horse. It brings famine to the land, starvation, and imbalance in pricing of the food supply. The last horse, which is the 4th horse, is the pale horse. Its rider is called Death, and the word tells us that hell followed with him.
CNN's Renee Marsh and Danny Freeman are following all of this for us. Renee, what more is the judge saying in this effort to keep SNAP money flowing?
Right. So there's this pot of more than $5 billion in emergency funds just sitting at the USDA. And the Trump administration said in court today that the agency was prohibited from tapping into those emergency funds to keep the assistance benefits flowing to those 42 million Americans who rely on it. The Trump administration's lawyers also said that the agency didn't want to use those funds. And the judge really pressed them pretty hard on this, asking where in the law does it prohibit using these funds to prevent the suspension of SNAP benefits, which, by the way, SNAP benefits have never been suspended or reduced before. But the administration's lawyers struggled to really give a clear and even convincing reason for why they needed to suspend these benefits. The judge at one point was so confused by the administration's arguments that she said, quote, "Congress has put money in an emergency fund for an emergency, and it's hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency when there's no money and a lot of people are needing their SNAP benefits. And that really was a key moment. The judge indicated that she may ask the agency to explore reducing benefits because of the dwindling amount of available funds as opposed to stopping the benefits altogether. That would be complicated because the USDA would have to recalculate how much specific states will get, then states will have to recalculate how much individuals will get. But here's the bottom line. Come November 1st, the SNAP benefits will not be available for the people who rely on them. The judge says that she's going to be working quickly to come up with an emergency decision, but she clearly was not buying the Trump administration's argument that they had no choice other than to stop these benefits during the shutdown.
Thank you so much for that report, Renee. Let's go now to Danny Freeman, because Danny's at a food pantry in the Philadelphia suburb.
This is a food emergency, and I want to unleash every tool at our disposal to keep New Yorkers from going hungry. Here's what that means. In addition to the money I just mentioned, my team has secured an additional $65 million on top of that. The new emergency funding, bringing our total investment this week alone to $106 million.
We used to be a proper country. We used to be a proper country. We used to be a proper country. We used to be a proper country.
It seems like every year it's getting more and more difficult to pass a budget when it comes to funding the government. And that is a problem because you have people losing their jobs, people that are not getting paid. And as we can see here, we see that people are losing their government assistance. We know the word tells us that a nation divided cannot stand. And it almost seems like these two parties cannot agree on anything. The word tells us in the book of Matthew that many would be offended, and they will betray one another, and they will hate one another. The Messiah tells us that many false prophets will arise, and they will deceive many. And because the iniquity will abound, the love of many will wax cold. And then he tells us that those who endure to the end would be saved. The Messiah tells us that these things would happen, and we are seeing these things more and more frequently, telling you all kind of things that will tickle the ear. If the ear is itching, they will tickle it. But as children of the Most High, we have to know how to engage the Ruach HaKodesh, tuned into what he is showing us, and not only tuned, but filled by the Ruach HaKodesh, so that we can know how to live in these last times.
We were asking questions after this man was found dead in Vance County at the base of a tree with a rope around his neck. His name is Javion McGee. Many of you reached out to us after a TikTok video went viral. WRO's Destiny Patterson has been digging into his death and joins us live from Vance County. Destiny, you spoke to the sheriff today. What do we know about this crime, about this case from law enforcement?
Just in the last 20 minutes, we've gotten a search warrant that gives us more insight into this investigation. A representative for the family says that Javion McGee was a truck driver, and I'm told that trucks often park here while making deliveries at a nearby Walmart distribution center. The sheriff said that McGee was found outside of a fenced area of this business, and they say that they found him at the base of a tree with a rope around his neck. 21-year-old Javion McGee stopped through Vance County as part of his job as a truck driver. It's a long way from where he lived in Illinois. Deputies found him dead Wednesday under a tree with a rope wrapped around his neck.
We have a lot of questions, not enough answers.
Candace Matthews identifies herself as a spokesperson for his family. She says law enforcement initially told them McGee died by suicide.
This young man has not had no indication of no type of suicidal ideation. He doesn't have a history of mental illness.
At no point in time that we have said this was a suicide.
Vance County Sheriff Curtis Brame says they're still investigating McGee's death. McGee's family does not believe he took his own life. But how can we rule out a hate crime at this point?
Look at me and who I am. If I thought that anyone, regardless of their race, was lynched in Vance County, I would have it all over national news. When we got there, he was sitting with his back up against the tree on the ground. It's something common we would say, we would call a jail suicide or homicide, where a person does not have enough height to hang or dangle.
McGee's family says they were told surveillance footage showed McGee buying a rope from Walmart. The sheriff says they're still looking into that. He says the medical examiner's office will officially determine the cause of death.
Mom and stepdad and dad have not even seen his body yet.
Sheriff Brame says the family could not view the body in person due to distance.
We want to see everything. We want full transparency.
As I mentioned before, we do now have a search warrant. We're going to continue to dig through that and bring you those details as we get them. Even at this hour, the family stories and law enforcement stories don't quite align. Now, McGee's family has hired a national civil rights attorney, and an autopsy has been ordered and will be performed. Destiny Patterson, WRL News, Vance County.
When you move over to the 12th chapter, it's very clear that the enemy went to make war with the children of her seed. And we know that when you read the context of that chapter, we know obviously, like the majority of the word is talking about his people. Okay? And so the enemy, Hasatan, comes to make war with the children of her seed. And this is what he's doing even right now. It does remind you of the Pharaoh and how all the way up until the 10th plague, he did not want to let the people go. He resisted the Most High. And this is why we have to be careful in how we move. And most importantly, who we move with. Hasatan moves in various forms. So be not ignorant of his devices. Knowing our authority, knowing who we are, but also being smart. Knowing that the enemy is moving around. And we have to be very careful to know that we have to take authority and understand his devices as well.
We have a problem because one of us has been shot and we do not know why they are shooting at us. When Tanzanians fight us, we Kenyans do not have a problem with them. Why are they shooting at us in our area?
The police have been firing tear gas and shooting Kenyans with live bullets. It has been a bad day today.
One way of knowing whether or not the word of the Most High is true is by seeing the prophecy, reading and knowing and understanding the prophecy, what is written about what is to come. And if those things doesn't come to pass, then we know that the prophecy is not real, that the prophecy is not true. So as we see the things that's going on right now, we see that the prophecies are coming to pass. We're seeing so many things unfolding, prophecy after prophecy after prophecy. It's the frequency, it's the number of them that is coming to pass. Many times you see a shadow of things to come. It's an unfolding, it's an introduction. Coming to a theater near you, and it may look or appear to you as if that event is the prophecy that the Most High spoke about, but it's missing a few things. Things haven't fully come to pass yet in the way that the Most High said it would. But again, things are moving at an accelerated rate. So we know who he's going to be revealing this information to. It's going to be the same people he's always revealed it to. We see even in the 7th chapter, when it speaks about the 144,000, we know that these people are the children of Yasharel. Okay? Very easily, 12,000 tribes from each. We are his Segula, his servants, his Quodesh. Okay? It's just that simple. The holy people set apart for what he has already done in times past, for what he is doing and what he said he would do. Just like the Messiah told us that many prophets and righteous people long to see the day, right? To see what the disciples were seeing when they were sitting with the Messiah, and to hear what the Talmudim were hearing from the Messiah back in those days. Now imagine if the prophets could see what we are seeing in this time.
What's NASA potentially hiding about 3i Atlas?
Well, on October 2nd, the 3i Atlas came closest to Mars, within 30 million kilometers, and the high-res camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter took several images of it. These are the highest resolution images we have. 3 times better in spatial resolution, about 30 kilometers per pixel, compared to the previous best image, which was the Hubble Space Telescope image. And that was a day after the government shutdown took over NASA, and we haven't gotten the data. And my point is that the politics of the day should not sabotage science. They have the data. They should share it with scientists. They can wait with any press release. But for the scientists to analyze the data, that would serve an important purpose of helping us design the future observations of this object. I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures if the light is emitted by some hot surface. But the sun is 5,800 degrees Kelvin above absolute zero, and it's very difficult to keep a surface hotter than that. In fact, an object at the distance of 3I Atlas from the sun could only be 20 times cooler than the sun, so it should be redder, and any dust.
But so what does that mean, Avi? What does that mean if it's hotter than the sun?
We have another anomaly. The object is bluer than the sun, which we don't fully understand. And as of a few hours ago, the first hint for a non-gravitational acceleration, meaning something is affecting its trajectory beyond gravity, was indicated. And so what I'm telling you is that there are new facts about this object that make it even more interesting than it was before. You know, before we knew it moves in the plane of the planets with a very small likelihood. Then we realized that it's very massive, about 1 million times more massive than the first interstellar object, Oumuamua. And then there was nickel with very little iron detected around it, the way we find in industrial production of nickel alloys. And then there was a jet from it towards the sun that was also anomalous. And then there was polarization from it that was never seen before for comets. So there are all these indications.
Bottom line, there's a lot that is making you continue to be very intrigued, a lot about this thing that makes it look like it might be something not quite natural, but we don't know yet. Avi Loeb, come back once we get that NASA image. And also, I'd love to hear more from you about why you think maybe we all originated on Mars, but we'll leave that to another night. Avi Loeb, great to have you on.
So you may be asking, what is 3I Atlas? So just real briefly, some say it's an object coming from the sky. It could be a comet, it could be a big boulder, you know, some object is coming out of the sky. Other people says because this thing doesn't look like a comet, it doesn't look like any object that they've ever seen. It's maneuvering, it's turning, it's doing all these different things, that is an actual fleet of ships that's coming to the Earth. You know, the science world is scrambling. You know, they are scrambling. You can see it. Every year there's some type of object that's headed to the Earth, supposedly headed to the Earth. And not to say that there's not, because we can look in the book of Revelation again. When reading the 8th chapter, it talks about this object. In fact, it described a great star falling from the sky. And we know that this star was named Wormwood. And it hits the waters, poisons the waters, makes the water bitter, like it says. People, you know, they drink that. We know what happened with them. According to the book of Revelation, they perish. And so we know that there was talk about 3I Atlas appearing on October the 29th. And of course, that did not happen. Others are predicting December 19th. This is man, and this is what man has always done. This is why we have to cling and hear from the Ruach HaKodesh. We know that these things are based on his timeline, not the news or not NASA or science. It's in his hands and his alone. Again, be careful of deception. Be careful of false prophets. The adversary wants you to waver, to be worried and concerned, but it's only to keep you distracted in your mind off of what the Most High is speaking to you. To know that you have all you need in the Most High. understanding who you are and what's in your DNA, who you are to the Most High, the covenant that you have with Him. Grow in that, learn in that, move in that. Until next time, family, enjoy yourself in the Most High. Enjoy your loved ones. Enjoy those around you. Don't let anyone steal your joy. Shalom, shalom. Family, thank you for tuning into the channel. If you got anything out of this topic, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share as we continue to spread the truth. It definitely helps us to grow the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we upload a new video. May the Most High bless you. And as always, shalom, shalom.